Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be making a coin system where you'll be able to pick up coins and it'll display on a UI, and it'll have lots of animations and sound effects that will make it very satisfying for the player to collect coins. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a server script into server script service, and this will be our Leaderstats script for the coins, so it'll display on the Roblox leaderboard. And I'm also going to call the script Leaderstats. So this right here is our Leaderstats script. If you have your own value in your own game, and if you have your own Leaderstats script that is more complicated than this, that's completely fine. This is just so I can actually have a value on the Roblox leaderboard, but yours might be more complicated and have data stores. All you're going to need is just the value that you're trying to save. Now that that's done, I'm going to make our CoinDropper script, and this is going to be in a module, so any script in our game will be able to require it and then place coins wherever they want. So now I'm going to add a script to server storage, and I'm going to call it CoinDropper. And I'm going to delete all this and add a few variables. So these variables that I have right here is, first we get some services such as players and run service into Breeze, and then I get tween service, and I make a variable called shrink tween info, which when the coin is collected, I want it to slowly shrink in while it's moving towards the player. And you can change this if you would like to make it custom to your game. And then the spin speed, which later on we'll use this to determine how fast we want the coins to spin while they're in the game. And lastly, we have spin speed, which is how fast the coins will spin when they're in the game. For our last variable, I'm going to add a folder inside of Workspace, and I'm going to call this coins. This is where we will store all of our coins that are placed into our game, so nothing gets disorganized. And then I'm also going to make a variable for it called coins folder. Now with all of our variables done, I'm going to make our drop coin function. So for this function right here, we have two arguments. Firstly, the position of where we want the coin to be placed. Right here we have the value argument, which will be the value of the coin and how much it will give you. So if you only want your coins to give you a specific number, just get rid of this and have variable right here of that number to be a random amount of a coin. So it might be 3 or it might be 5 coins that you get, collect a coin. Make it a little more random. So what we're going to have in this function is we're first going to set up the model. Next we're going to make a shrink function, which will be used once the coin has been collected. Activate a spinning function, which will make the coin continuously spin. Next we're going to have a function connected to the coin's hitbox, so when players come near the coin, it will start floating towards them and they'll be able to collect it. Before we can get to any of this scripting though, you need to go to the description and grab the coin model. This is the model that I'll be using in the game. It already has the hitbox and the coin model with a bunch of other things such as sound effects and attachments that are already set up. You can use your own model if you want to. This just has all the align positions and orientations already set up, which is what is used for making the coin float to the player. And it also has the sound effect and the base attachment with a collect effect, so that will be used once it's collected, and a light to just make it kind of shine where it's kind of around. It's not that bright though, you could brighten it up if you want, and a weld that welds the base to this logo mesh that is on the coin. And in the hitbox there's just a attachment, which these align orientation and align positions, they are attached to the base attachment, and then they're attached to the hitbox attachment. So this means this coin base will always float to where this hitbox is. I can show you right now if I load up the game, and then just with my mouse, if I grab the hitbox and I move it around, you can see that the coin slowly floats to where it is, and it also rotates with its position. So that's all that's in this model. You can totally make your own. You're just going to need to set up your own attachments and align orientations and positions. And with that, you're just going to take your coin model and put that into the CoinDropper module script. And now if we go into our script, we can start scripting. So the script I've made right here is first we get a cloned model of our coin model inside of our CoinDropper script, and then I just make a variable to quickly access the base of the coin model because I'm probably going to use this frequently. And then I just make the hitbox transparency equal to 1 because I like to do that through script instead of always having it invisible while editing the game. That's just my preference, but you could do it in the editor and not have this line of code. And then in this line, we change the hitbox position to the position that we want to drop our coin. And then right here, I just set the coin basis C-frame to the align orientation, attachment 1, world C-frame, which all this is just going to set the coin base C-frame to the C-frame of the hitbox. Because when we spawn in the hitbox, I don't want the coin slowly floating over. I just want it to instantly be where it's supposed to be. And then next, we have the shrink animation function, which we'll use later in our script. So this function we have right here is I create 2 tweens for each coin part. As you can see right here, we have the coin base and the coin logo part, which are 2 separate meshes. So we need to create 2 separate tweens for them. And I just give them the shrink tween info, and then I make their size equal to 0.1 on all scales for factor 3. And also something I want to add up here is inside of our sound effect, inside of the coin base, there's a collect sound effect, which sounds like this. But I don't want it to play that sound exactly at that pitch every single time because that can get annoying. We're going to add a pitch sound effect to the sound and randomize its pitch a little bit every time we spawn in a new coin. So it won't be the same sound every single time, and it'll give it a little variation. So right here, we first make a variable to our newly created pitch sound effect, and then I parent it to the collect sound effect inside of our coin. And then we change the octave to a random number between 100 and 135 divided by 100. I do this because you can't use floating numbers in math.random, so I first have to give it a big number and then divide it, so then the result will be 1 or 1.3 or something like that. Next, we're going to add a spinning animation to our coin, so as it's waiting to be collected, we can have a little spinning animation. And for this, I'm going to be using coroutines, and I first need to create a function that will run inside the coroutine. And down here, I'm going to make a new function called spin coin. So the function we made right here is the first argument is an align orientation, and then I just get the first attachment to that align orientation. And right here, we use runService.heartbeat, which whatever is inside of this function, it will run every frame. So we change the attachment's orientation on the y-axis times the spin speed. So once the attachment has rotated, then the coin will follow the attachment's rotation because it has the align orientation inside of it. So after we have made this function, now we can create a new coroutine called spin thread. And now we can activate this coroutine using coroutine.resume. So we resumed it, and we want to resume this coroutine, and we're also giving it the argument of this coin's align orientation. So now once the coin is spawned in, it will start spinning. The next thing we need to do is once our hitbox has been touched, we need to actually make the coin go to the player and add up all the values and stuff like that. I'm first going to make an empty variable called hitbox connection. And then I'm going to equal it to our hitbox.touched connection. The reason I'm making a variable for this event is once this function has run and the player or whatever has hit this hitbox, if it's a valid hit, then I want to disconnect this. So I'm first going to check to see if whatever hit the hitbox is a player. And I first check to see if the player exists, and if there's not a player or the health of the player is less than or equal to 0, then I return because this is not a valid hit. And now with this code, after we've checked that the hit is valid, I'm going to add a item to debris service, which if you don't know what debris service is, you can add items to it and give it a time, and after that set time, the item that you added will be destroyed. So even if there is an error or something later down in the code, if we've added an item to the debris service, then it will be destroyed in whatever set time we give it. Next, I disconnect the hitbox connection, because if the hit for the coin was valid, then I do not want this function running every time someone hits it, so we just disconnect it. And then the coin base, I set its network owner to the player. And if you don't know much about network ownership, all this is really doing is it makes it less laggy for when the player is collecting the coin. Once we've made this, if you want, you can test it out without setting the network owner, and you'll see that it's just not as smooth, but right here we set it so that it's smooth and nice. And next, I'm going to use the shrink function that we created. After the coin has started to shrink, I'm going to want the coin to start moving towards the player, and we're going to first get the root attachment of the player and then set the align positions attachment 1 to the root attachment. Same for the align orientation. So right here we are doing just that. We get the player's root attachment, then we set the align position and orientations root attachment, and I accidentally put a 0 for this, but we put the align positions attachment 1 and align orientations attachment 1 to the root attachment, so the coin will start moving towards the player. And I'm also going to close the core routine that we made up here, because I don't want the coin to spin anymore. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make another touched event that's connected to the coin. So as the coin's moving towards the player, once the coin has actually touched to the player, I'm just going to delete it and add up all the values and stuff like that. And I'm going to first check to see if the thing that hit the coin is valid. I'm just going to return if the thing that touched it was not the player that originally touched the hitbox. But if the player that touched the hitbox has touched the coin, then we're just going to disconnect the collect connection. And after that, I'm going to play some effects like sounds and particles and stuff. So right here, we just get a variable to the collect effect, which is right inside of this base attachment right here. And then we parent it to the root attachment. And because I want the particle to emit right onto the player, so I'm parenting it to the root attachment. And then I'm going to emit the effect by 1. So it'll be one little spark once the player has collected it. And lastly, I'm going to also add it to the debris service. So after the particle emitter has finished playing, it'll be destroyed. And I'm just going to give that 3 seconds, because that's plenty of time for the effect to play. And next, I'm going to destroy the coin model. And then I'm also going to update the leaderboard. And right here, when you're updating the value of coins or whatever your value may be, just make sure that the name right here is the name of your leader stats. So right here, it's the coins value, and I'm also updating the coins just right here. And after all this, I'm now going to parent the coin model into the coins folder. So now it'll be inside the workspace and players will actually be able to collect the coin. So at the very bottom of your script, now we just need to return our drop coin function. And make sure to do it without the parentheses, so it should look like this, not this. So now that we've made this CoinDropper module, we can start using it in any of our scripts. I'm just going to go into our already existing Leaderstats script, make a few lines, and I'm going to require our module so that we can start spawning in coins. So I've required our coin module right here. I have our module right here, and it's inside of our require function. And now with this, we can just drop coin, give it a position. I'll just give it a position right next to the spawn point. And also we can just give it a value, so I'll make it 10. Also, one thing that I just noticed is I forgot to parent this folder to the player. So on line 5 of your Leaderstats script, just make sure inside the instance.new, just put the new player, and also right here for the coins value, make sure you parent this to the Leaderstats folder, or else we won't have any Leaderstats to add to. But with that, we can now play our game, and we can see that there's a coin spawned in. We have our coins leader stats, and if I walk up to it, there should be a sound that plays, and it should float to us, and all particles and all the good stuff. So yeah, there we go. But I think this is pretty cool, but there's no UI, because if you have a game with really cool sounds and stuff, but there's no fun UI, that can make it less engaging. So we're going to work on that now. So in the description, I'll also have a model to the GUI. So if you just head over to your toolbox and grab the model in the description and put it into your game and make sure to parent it to the starter GUI, you'll see that you should have something like this on your screen. Also, if you open up the Coins GUI, you'll see that there's a main frame and this folder saying Coin GUI placeholder, which here is we're gonna have a script called Coin GUI, and all the stuff that goes in here we're gonna need to put inside that script. So first, make a local script, and I'll just call it Coin GUI handler. Add all of the items that was inside this folder into this, and delete the placeholder folder. And if you go back, that GUI that you saw next to this should be gone. And quick side note, if you do not like the UI that I made, which is totally fine, you can add your own icons and your own colors and stuff to suit your game best, because this is just for the tutorial. But if you do like it, feel free to keep it and put it in your game. So inside the script that we made, I'm just going to make quite a few variables actually, and I'll go through each of them one by one, but I'll just get them all written out for you. And right before I'm done finishing these variables, make sure to add a screen GUI into the starter GUI and call it pop-ups. This is where all of the little pop-ups for how much coins were collected will go, just to keep things organized. So with all of these variables, I'll go one by one and explain each of them. And tell me in the comments if you prefer me to write everything out and then explain it, or go line by line. I'd like to know, because I want to make tutorials that best help you guys. So first we have the local player, and then we have the coins value, which is just, the coins value. And make sure that you put the name of your actual value, because if it's something like gold or points or something, make sure that's here. And then we have the main frame. We have the pop-ups GUI, which is where all of our pop-ups will go. We have the coins icon, which is this right here. And then we have the coins label, which is this, displaying the number of coins we have. Next, we have the added SFX, which is the sound effect. Once the coin has been collected, it'll pop up on the screen, then it'll move over to the GUI, and once it's moved over, it'll make a little pop sound. Then we have the icon size, which is just the default size of the icon. Then we have the icon size out. So once one of the pop-ups moves to the icon, it'll pop out a little bit. The pop-up area is the size of where the pop-ups can appear. So from the center of your screen, how much they can pop out. I just set it to 8, but if you want, you can set it to 10, and that will cover the whole screen. And then there's pop-up time, which is how long it'll take for the pop-up to pop up. And then the linger time, which is just how long it waits before it moves to the GUI. The return time, which is just a little longer than the pop-up time. And this is just how long it takes for it to move to the icon. And then the sum time, which is just all of these together. And I forgot to plus the return time with it, but it's all three of these values together, and this is for waiting for the animations to play. Then there's the coins count, which will be keeping track of the count of the coins and how much has been gained. And then lastly, I just have a variable to the debris service. So the first thing we're going to have is we're going to have the update label function, which it's going to run every time the label needs to update and the coins value has been changed. I'm first going to get a value to the current coins value. And then I'm going to check to see if any coins were gained, then we should play the animation. And then I'm going to check to see if any coins were gained. So if they got like +3 or +4 coins, then it'll actually play the animation, rather than if they like lost coins and spent money on something. I'm also just going to add a quick else. So even if this is not true, I just want to make sure to update the coins count to the current coins value. So next time the coins value changes, we'll accurately be able to know how much they gained or lost. But then inside the main part of this function, we're going to have a pop-up animation play, which this is going to be a separate function down below. I just haven't made it, so I'll just make a quick comment for later. Then we're going to play a sound for it. And the last part, we're going to play a little animation for the icon, so it grows a little and then shrinks back down for when coins have been added. So for the sound, I'm going to make a new sound effect for our added sound effect. So I create the sound effect, I parent it to the script, and then I destroy it. The reason I'm destroying it instead of playing it is because on the sound, I have play on remove enabled. So when this gets destroyed, it'll just automatically play. And for the added animation, I'm just going to do coins icon, and then I'm going to tween size. So first we tween the size of the icon just a little outward, and I just gave it these easing styles and directions, which you can change these. You can change these if you want, and it is going to last for about 0.2 seconds, which is the pop-up time. And then this boolean right here is checking to see if it will override any other tweens that are being played onto the icon, which I set this to true, so if someone's collecting coins, then it can keep overriding the animation and keep playing new ones if it needs to. And the last thing into this is there's a callback function, which this is going to look a little weird, but we can put a function inside of here, and then we're just going to kind of copy this, paste it into this function, make sure to add the end of the curly braces, and also put a comma at the end of your boolean. And then change this to icon size in. So this function right here will run once this tween is completed. So the tween will pop out, and then it's going to complete, and then it'll pop back in. It looks a little weird, but it's just putting it back in after it's popped out. And I'm also going to change the easing direction to in, because I think that's going to look a little better. So after adding this animation, we can come down to the bottom of our update label function and update the text to whatever the actual coins value is. So next we need to work on this pop-up animation, which I just put a placeholder here, but we actually need to make the real thing so we can run the function. So down right here, I'm just going to make a new function called pop-up. And it's also going to take an argument of the value that has been gained. So the pop-up can then say +2 or +5 or whatever the value may be. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the coins count equal to the current value of coins that we have. Nextly, we need to choose a random position for the pop-up to appear. So right here we get the random position using our pop-up area. And also something that I kind of messed up, you're probably going to want to lower this number because this is actually a pretty big area. So doing something like 4 would be more reasonable. But now with that, we can create our new pop-up GUI and put it into the pop-ups screen GUI. So right here, we clone the pop-up in our script, and then I make sure to get a variable for its default size, because later we're going to shrink it and then pop it back up to its normal size. And I set its size to something very small, and then I set its position to our random position. Make sure the text is set to our value with a plus behind it, so it'll say plus whatever value we are gaining. Then I parent it to the pop-ups GUI. Now, this next part I'm going to do is actually very similar to what we did right here. So if you want, you can just copy all this, bring it all the way back down, and then you can just paste it right here. But switch a few things out. So you want to make sure that the pop-up is being tweened. So after copying it and changing a few things, I made sure to tween the new pop-up instead of the coins icon, and make sure you're tweening it to the default size that we made right here. I also changed the easing styles to back because I think that would look a little better, and use the pop-up time. And then for our function down here that will run once this is ran, I am using tween size and position because I want it to move to the coins icon. So first I make it tween to a small position, and also I move it to the coins icon position, and then I use the return time. And then we're going to wait the return time and then destroy the new pop-up. And so it will pop up, then it will move to the coins icon while shrinking. and then it'll be destroyed. And at the very end of this pop-up function, we can just do tasks.wait and wait for our sum time. And then after that is done, we can now bring this function all the way up to our update label function, paste it right here, and not have it be a comment. And the argument I'm going to give it is we're going to first give it the current coins and minus it by the coins count. So then it'll give us how much the player earned. And the very last thing to do for this long script is just come down to the bottom, and we're going to want to first run our update label function once, and then after we've ran it once, we want to make sure to connect it so whenever the coins value changes, then it'll actually update. So right here on our coins value, anytime the value changes, we just connect it to our update label function, so then it'll run. And the one thing I also forgot to do is in your second part of the pop-up animation, just make sure to do task.wait linger time, so it'll wait however long you want before it shrinks it back down and moves it to the icon. And another thing, there's a few bugs I found while just doing some pre-testing. Make sure that this is set to UDM2.fromOffset, not new. That was causing me some issues with the animation, so make sure it's set to from offset. But with all of that said, we can now finally go play our game, and we can see a nice shiny coin placed. We can see that everything looks nice, and if we walk over, our coin gets collected, and animation plays, and sounds also play. They might be a little quiet though. And I'd also like to show you one thing you could do is under here. I'm just gonna make this a while task.wait and give it like a 1.5 seconds. And then I'm also going to make this a random value, so it'll randomly spawn between the spawn point instead of just being one position. And with this little add-on, now if we go play, we'll see that coins are spawning all around us, and we can collect them. You can see that our Leaderstats value goes up, our coins value, everything looks all shiny and nice. This is something that's going to help your game out a lot, especially if it's a simulator where you're going to need lots of satisfying things in it. But any game can really use this because these are really fun to collect, and it can make your game more engaging. If this video helped, please make sure to like and subscribe. These videos take a lot to make, so I really appreciate it if you were to give it a like. And if you have any video ideas, please make sure to give those in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see ya.